What's happening, folks? Diddy COULD, Project Vegan. Today I want to talk about something a little different. It's a little something everybody talking about, but a part of it that, that for the most part I hadn't seen nobody talk about. Now keep in mind, I ain't kept up with this in like a week. The Diddy case, make all your jokes, Diddy do it, whatever. But I think Puffy just might walk. Now, look, I want y'all to, for real, I want y'all to hear me out on this. That's not hyperbole. I believe that Puffy might actually walk. Hold on just a second. All right. Took like 5 seconds, but I believe Puff can actually walk. I really think he can. Let me explain to you why. Okay? What are the charges Puff got? He got RICO, right? And he got, what, RICO? So RICO, to break that down, is racketeering, influence, corrupt organizations, right? I think that's what they got, how they got John Gotti. Yeah, so what have you been hearing this whole Diddy case? Domestic violence, sexual degeneracy, a bunch of immoral, depraved behavior, right? And I ain't saying Puff is innocent. Hell no. 48 Hours with Diddy, the Justin Bieber shit, what have we heard about that? Nathan. Usher, saying some shit he saw at Puff parties back in the 90s. And then on Howard Stern, would you let your kid go to a Puff party? He like, oh, hell no. Right? Why we not, you know what I'm saying? We hearing a little something about that, but did we just forget that he had, I'm not hearing nothing about weapons trafficking because, what they say, they found 3 AR-15s with the serial numbers gone. I'm not hearing nothing about major drug trafficking. We all know about the pink cocaine and shit. I'm not hearing nothing about, I'm not hearing nothing criminal about, most of the civil suits, most of the civil suits are Tony Busby and whatnot. But criminally, I'm not hearing much about that. I hear them dragging his name and shit. I really think Puffy might walk. And I'm not saying, I do not think he's innocent. But I think he's walking. Now, let me tell you another thing I'm not hearing about that you will hear about, or will somehow be brought up in a RICO case. Now, I ain't been looking too deep into it, but have his accounts been frozen? I don't think they have. I haven't heard nothing about it. Somebody in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. Has there been an asset forfeiture hearing? Are we hearing anything about money laundering? We're not hearing nothing about that. So, this is why I think Puffy just might walk. That's why I'm thinking Puff just might walk. Because there's a lot of RICO related stuff that we are just not hearing about. That you know what I'm saying? Another thing, and this is just speculation. This is speculation I heard about a year ago. He had tapes. He had footage of some dirty deed some DHS agent was doing And that's why DHS did the raids in Q1 or Q2 of last year. I can't remember exactly when, but so where's the racketeering? Where's the narcotics trafficking and distribution? Where's that? Where's the weapons trafficking? Where's the money laundering? Where are the asset forfeiture hearings? Where are people, you know what I'm saying? We talking about bribes that's been put out and lawsuits and whatnot. I think that's a piece of nugget. Hold on. We hearing about bribes and lawsuits and whatnot, but we not hearing about, you know, the typical stuff you hear about in the RICO case. Why are we not hearing about that? Where's that information at? And another thing, and it could be a few more to add in between, but it seemed like, and I've been doing the math on this next part. It seemed like when the youngest in every generation, when they in their mid-teens or they late teens, some case comes out where all the evidence points to this individual being guilty. And somehow, some way, they walk. Exhibit A, OJ. Yeah, OJ did that. I don't care. We know OJ did that. And he was found not guilty. Now, that was Gen X. The youngest Gen Xer was probably about 15, 16 or so. Around that time, that was the mid-90s. I was a knee-high little nigga at that time. And then we got Casey Anthony, right? Casey Anthony took place in 2008, and she walked in the early 2010s. It was 2010 or 2011. I can't remember exactly when. But Casey Anthony, that was my generation. That was millennials. I was born in 90, so the youngest millennial was 15, 16. And now we got the youngest Gen Zers, you know, they were born in 09. Because that's how I do generations, every 15 years. The youngest Gen Zer right now is 15 years old. I mean, you know, I could just be making something out of nothing with that. But I'm thinking Puff gonna walk. I'm thinking Puffy gonna walk. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he gonna walk. I could be wrong, you know. And I'm pretty sure he guilty. He guilty of some fuck shit. But I'm thinking he gonna walk. And you know, but even if he do get convicted, I'm not sure what they got bound to stick, RICO wise. At least, you know, from what I done seen on the coverage of the trial. I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, even if he do get convicted, that shit was railroaded. I'm thinking that shit was railroaded even if he do get convicted. And if he don't get convicted, I'm thinking it's some kind of incompetence. Because they didn't fully have their case together. You know, especially considering the speculation I heard about that Homeland Security agent that he had footage on. But that was just my thinking. That was just my thoughts for the day. I really don't have much else. But yeah, I'm thinking Puff should walk. Not should walk. I'm thinking he will walk. And the domestic violence shit, yeah, convict him of that. The sexual degeneracy, hey, that's more or less normalized nowadays. So I'm thinking Puff got a good chance of walking. I think he really got a good chance of walking. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. What y'all think, let me know y'all thoughts down there. Y'all probably got more knowledge about the current case than me, because I hadn't looked at nothing related to that in about 2 weeks. I think they on week 4 of this trial, and they wanted this trial to last no more than 8 to 10 weeks. I think they wanted to be done with it by Independence Day. Yeah. Now, you know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe if they was laying out the bricks for a RICO case, I'm thinking they would be presenting that by now. But I'm going to catch a little more coverage of it. Y'all let me know everything in the comments, and I'll catch y'all folks later. Arrivederci.